One of the things I think about quite a lot is romantic relationships, especially in the Black community. When you look at least South African history, uh, somewhat recent history, the assumption for a lot of us is that we had healthy families. That means we had mom and dad and kids. And Africans practiced polygamy. I don't think all of them. I think it was actually very few of them. My assumption is that most African men were actually not polygamous and had one woman. You'd only become a polygamist when your responsibilities grew, when you had a lot of livestock, cows, goats, sheep, and it became too much for you and your wife to handle. Maybe you had a lot of kids with your wife, 5, 6, 7. And it just, the responsibilities of running the land, working the land and taking care of the kids became a bit much. So you'd kind of have to fetch a woman from somewhere. By fetch, I mean, today we can hire nannies, we can hire babysitters, we can hire helpers, cleaners in the house. And you can hire a personal assistant, an executive assistant as a man. Back in the day, you couldn't do that. To bring any woman from outside into your home, it had to be with the blessing of her father, and it would need to be formalized. So you might find that it wouldn't even be me, it would be my wife who would go and fetch a younger girl to help her. She's more energetic, she's maybe good at what she does, and look, she could be pretty because she's coming to join our family. And somewhere later on, she will want to have children, and I impregnate her. Not from a sexual desire perspective where I'm like, oh, look at this young thing. It's literally from a responsibility perspective. You know, we went and we adopted, myself and my wife went and we adopted this woman from her family. And at some point, I think her family would like to know that she has her own children and her own family. So you do it almost as a courtesy. I know it sounds weird, but that's just, it's my thoughts. Now, we assumed we were healthy and British colonizers came and apartheid happened and capitalism in its current form was introduced to Black Africans, and that meant having to pay tax, having to have money. And because we didn't understand that type of economics, we were forced to get jobs and we were exploited. You know, we had to work in the mines, factories, farms and other spaces. And that forced a lot of men to have to leave their land and their homes to go and work. And that was the beginning of the break of the Black African family. This is our general understanding. With that, you fast forward to a few years now where we've normalized absent fathers, we've normalized single moms, dads not being in the household, and because of the economic game and how it's set up, a lot of Black men, even if they have jobs, don't have money. They have a lot of debts they can't afford. And it's worse with the marketing machine where people are constantly buying things they don't need, constantly taking out debt. And because people are mentally miserable, they end up wanting to numb the pain through alcohol, drugs, partying, etc. And I guess with the traveling and you have a wife at home and, you know, let's say the city life where there's transactional sex, we've also kind of gotten used to transactional relationships. Now, I think a lot about what it would take for us to fix, specifically for Black Africans, our families. For a lot of people, they've managed to fix it comfortably with church. You know, guys gave themselves to Jesus Christ, the Lord and Savior, and went to church and prayed and found a religious woman and built a Christian household, you know, almost mimicking the more European counterparts and to some degree some of the Islamic Arab counterparts. Some guys tried, as difficult as it is, to hold on to the cultural aspect, but that's been very difficult because Black women have had women empowerment and feminism introduced to them, and the type of women empowerment and feminism introduced to them almost has to do with stating that culture is oppressive. I know they tried that with the Muslims and they failed. The women are still by and large submissive. Some people argue that the women are abused and they aren't really free, whereas Black women in particular, and maybe white women are free. But with that freedom comes this thing of not wanting to submit to a man and not letting a man lead you because you can lead yourself. You're a free woman, you know, kind of situation. Now, for the rest of people that don't find themselves church, maybe with cultural ways of living, what's the solution? And I think about that a lot, and I try to think of how do we resolve this thing, because one of the philosophical questions is, do we really want to go back to a nuclear family? Should we be looking into more modern families? Like, excuse the pun with the comedy, the sitcom. Do we have modern families where we have blended families, where we're stepfathering, stepmothering, kids from outside, we get divorced, and we try and have some type of health within that mess of liberalism? Do we go back to how things were and have some form of dictatorship? So I've got kids and I dictate to my children, this is who you will date, this is how it will happen, this is who you will marry, and this is our family's values, to try and fix some of what I thought was broken in my own life. In that, and maybe this is why I made this video, I realized that part of the issue we have in current society, not just as Black people now, but as everyone, is the entry and exit into relationships has become too easy. Now, that's arguably a good thing for an educated, intelligent, independent, free generation. But the amount of damage it causes, it's literally like giving your child the option to opt in and out of any school they want. In July, they're like, don't like the school, want to go to another one. Next year, August, they want to go to another school. And 2 weeks later, they go to another school. And it's like, the kids are free now. They get to go to whichever school they want. They get to go to any class. They get to pick up any subject, especially at a tertiary level where you pick and choose your majors. I don't like geography. I'm actually going to do accounting now. I'm going to leave accounting. I want to do nursing. And there's no real stability. And we don't know if you can build anything sustainable. So our relationships are the same. We can meet on a Friday evening while we're out, be intimate that Friday evening, have sex, and come Saturday midday, we're done. It was nice to meet you. It was nice seeing you, nice being intimate. It's gone. Some people date for a week, some date for a month, some date for a few months, some for a few years, and you're gone. Families are not involved. There's nothing to lose except maybe you increase your body count. And if people are tracking you, they devalue you according to society. Should we be looking to increase the cost of entering and exiting relationships? And as a Black kid growing up, you used to watch a lot of the white kids introducing their boyfriends and girlfriends from high school to their parents. And maybe part of it was, look, if I'm going to date this person, let's meet each other's families so that it's not easy to get out. And let's meet each other's families so that we can see if the values align or not. I don't know. I'm making this video because I'd like to hear your thoughts. Should we be increasing the cost of entering a relationship, romantic relationship, and increasing the cost of exit? So your child in grade 10 wants to date? Sure. Let them bring their partner to meet the family and sit. And then you must go and meet her family or his family. And then at some point, both parent groups must meet each other. And if we're all happy, then the kids can date. And if the kids want to leave, they have to go through us again. And if we're not happy, we put them through therapy. We shout to them. We're like, you're not leaving. We're not going to welcome anyone new here because this is who we know as your partner. What do you think? Could this heal society? I don't know. Like to hear your thoughts. Pen you all the black pen. Cheers.